so let's get started. And I'm going to shift over to the whiteboard as we get going here. All right, yesterday, where we started yesterday was my goal for yesterday was to try to help people see how essentially you can even go back to the setup call, but really how the warm up and the company story are tied together. I didn't expressly say that yesterday as I was going through it, but that was really the number one thing that I wanted to try to do yesterday, was show how that warm up and how that company story are absolutely tied together. Where I want to start today is I want to start by tying two other things together, and that is tying step 2 and step 6 together. And Grant, you can let Joe know that I'm giving him credit here. This is something that Joe came up with, 2 plus 6 equals 8. So if you get 2 right and you get 6 right, you got a really good shot of getting 8 right. So what does that mean? That means asking great questions in step 2 to understand what product you're going to pull out of the van. And then in step 6, presenting that product. I chose this for you because you said these things, whatever that happens to be. You said these things, okay? So I want us to spend a few minutes breaking down individual product categories. And as we look at these different product categories, what are the questions that you might ask to help narrow things down? So, for example, let's say that I was out looking for a new car, okay? Well, if I go to the car dealership, the salesperson that I talk to, they might first ask me if I'm looking for a truck or a car. Okay, well, I'm looking for a car. Or are you looking for a 4-door or 2-door? Are you looking for something sporty or something economical? Or, so the idea is you've got what used to be 6,000 cars on the lot. It's now only 40. But you had all these cars on the lot, and the salesperson is trying to narrow it down to what it is that I'm actually looking for. Okay, well, it's the same thing. You've got 3,000 samples in the van, plus whatever else your local location has added to it. So how are you going to narrow that down? How are you going to narrow it down to something that actually makes sense for this customer? So let's start. Get a blank sheet here. Let's start with hardwood. So if you go into a customer's home, what are the questions that you want to ask? Somebody says they want a hardwood floor. Okay. What are the okay, I've got thousands of options here. So, and if I Google, there's hundreds of thousands of options when it comes to hardwood. So we got to narrow this down some. What are some of the things that are going to be important for you to ask? What are some of the things that are going to be important for the customer when it comes to, I want a hardwood floor?
What kind of look are you thinking of as far as color and sheen?
Okay, so color, sheen. What else?
The width of board.
Width, all right. What else?
Why?
Feel, whether it's smooth or if it's dimensional.
And great.
Right, so it could be smooth. It might be scraped. It might have more of a wire brush. Okay, good. What else?
You're looking for a particular type of species of wood? Oak?
Oh, Patrick, tell me about species. Patrick, tell me about species.
Talk about the different styles of maybe hickory, oak.
Okay.
The hickory, it could be the hardness of the wood.
So what would make a customer want maple instead of oak or hickory instead of pine? What is it that would cause a customer to want a particular species?
durability and the hardness of the flooring.
Okay,
And the
Ask them
color
what
on the
their
wall.
Jenga score should be. That'll help.
all
The
right. so
variations
durability,
in the wood.
hardness, variation. Okay, when somebody says variation, what do you mean by variation?
Whether it could be, I mean, every
The
type of
grain.
wood has a different variation to it, and the grade of the wood.
Yeah, high amount of grain versus the smoothest of grain, so.
Like if it's gonna have a
Okay.
knots visible or just smooth.
Oh, good. All right. So that would be the grade, right? So is this a select? Maybe it's a number 1 or a number 2, common. Maybe they're looking for something that looked like it was in a bar, tavern grade. Okay. Good. What else?
So I don't know, this is, I guess probably really wouldn't be something we'd be asking a customer, but one of the biggest things we need to be looking at is what kind of subfloor is it? Because that's gonna depend on if we're doing
Oh.
hardwood or engineered.
Right. Okay. So is it going to be engineered versus solid? And Clayton, I like the way you set that up because it's probably not a question that you're asking the customer, but it's something that you're determining based on the subfloor that they've got, right? So it's not like I walk into a house and I ask them, well, do you prefer a solid or an engineered? No, I'm the expert and I've seen that you have a concrete floor, so the only thing I can do is an engineered, right? So
Yeah.
automatically that eliminates a bunch of boards out of the van because I'm forced to go down a particular path. By the way, this is a good place to insert this. Don't get sucked down a path. You guys know that you can't glue a solid hardwood floor down to concrete. You know that. We've talked about it. It's in all the material. We don't have to go through all that right this minute. But don't get sucked down a path where a customer says, yeah, but the last guy said he could do it. Okay, whatever. I've seen a lot of last guys do stuff that I have to come back and fix later. So don't get sucked down a path of doing something just because the last guy said that they could do that. Good. What else do you want to know about their hardwood floor?
Words,
Do you have any pictures of what they like?
Sure. That always helps. It might be that they've even got a sample from somebody else, right? They went to Lowe's and picked up a sample. Okay, what else?
Are they
Made in
looking
America?
at a pre-finished hardwood or a
Mhm.
sand and finish?
Right, so pre-finished. Versus site finished. So Jesse, when would you choose a pre-finished versus a site finished or vice versa?
Well, in my case, I'd probably pick a pre-finished because it's a lot more profitable for us.
Never mind the money. What would cause you to pick one versus the other?
The pre-finished hardwoods do have a little bit better durability because they're pre-finished in factory. And it's a lot faster of an install.
Okay, so when I want to hone in on this durability for just a second, we're not going to camp out here forever. A pre-finished hardwood floor, almost every one of them that's out there, there are some that don't, but almost every pre-finished floor that's out there, and certainly every pre-finished floor that's in the mobile showroom collection, every pre-finished floor that's in the mobile showroom collection has aluminum oxide built into that finish. Does anybody know what aluminum oxide is?
Sandpaper.
And it hardens
Yes,
the surface,
definitely.
scratch resistance.
Yep, it makes the surface scratch resistant. It doesn't make the surface scratch proof, but it does make the surface scratch resistant, okay? To the point that if you ever had to sand and finish a pre-finished hardwood floor, your installer is going to hate you. They'll do it, but it can be done, but they're going to hate you because it's a lot more work to get that pre-finished floor, that pre-finished surface off, okay? It is not possible It is absolutely not possible to put aluminum oxide in a site finished floor. It can't be done. So as a result, any site finished floor is going to wear out faster than a pre-finished floor. It just will. I mean, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. It is absolutely impossible to put that type of coating inside of a floor when you don't have the controls of being inside a manufacturing space. Normally, a pre-finished floor, you're going to get, depending on the company, you're going to get anywhere from 9 to maybe 13 coats of polyurethane on that floor. Site finished, 2 to 3. 2 is pretty standard, 3 is considered premium. And imagine, if you will, in a manufacturing facility, how well can they control the thickness of that polyurethane? Pretty well. How well is your installer going to control the thickness of that polyurethane when they're just rolling it on with a brush? It is what it is, right? So there is no question that a pre-finished floor gives the customer a better floor. There's no, I mean, that's not an option. It's not an opinion, that's a fact. The pre-finished floor is going to be a much more durable floor than any site finished floor ever would be. And a pre-finished floor is a much easier install versus site finish, where you end up having to sand and finish, and I mean, it's a mess.
And if they have dogs, they're not going to be able to be there for a week or two, and just.
Yep. I mean, it really is a big mess, right? So I would, in every possible case, I would lean a customer towards a pre-finished floor. You know, there are exceptions to every rule, of course. I mean, this isn't a rule anyway. This is just a preference. And I don't want to camp out here all morning, but this is, it's an important point. Pre-finished, I'm not even going to offer my customer a site finished board unless they specifically ask for it. I'm just going to show them pre-finished boards, and that's what we're going to install. And then, of course, if there's a special situation and they ask for something that's site finished, then of course we can do it. It's just not a preference. And I'm going to have this same conversation with them and explain why the pre-finished is a better option for them.
So for the
All right,
site
good.
finish, the only way that you would really do a site finish is that if they have some previous hardwood that they're going to sand and refinish and they want everything to match.
Yeah, but even that, Clayton, let's say they have one room that has an existing hardwood floor, and you're going to insert new boards in another, sand everything down and stain it all at the same time. It's still going to look different. And the reason it's going to look different is because that aged wood is going to absorb the stain differently than the new wood will.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's only slight, and maybe over time the patina is going to, you know, sort of even it out. But it's not going to be exactly the same, even if you did sand everything down at the same time.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm still going to do it if that's what it is. But you know what? My option 1 is going to be to rip out the existing hardwood floor and put everything down with a pre-finished wood. That's still going to be my option 1.
Okay.
Option 2, then, okay, we'll leave that and we'll sand and finish everything. So now the strategy becomes very clear. In one case, I'm ripping out the old and putting in the new.
Okay.
Especially if it's fairly small. I had a design associate call me one day that we're in panic mode, and they're like, this customer absolutely wants to, you know, they want to match an existing hardwood floor. And after some minutes of conversation, found out the only hardwood that we were talking about was this little, like 6 foot by 6 foot space at the foyer. And that's what we were stressing over. I'm like, rip it out. Yeah, I mean, it ain't that big a deal. Rip it out. All right, so what else? What else do you want to know about somebody's preferences for hardwood before you run out to the van?
Why?
Sorry?
Why are you choosing hardwood?
Okay, all right, but let's assume for a moment that, you know, hardwood is okay. I'm just trying to understand what board I'm going to pull out of the van.
Maybe a modern or more classic look? Does hardwood present like that maybe?
And
Like a barn, you know, that rustic barn look compared to, you know, the gray and the browns and the warm or cool. I don't know what the terminology here is in this case.
Rustic.
okay. So one thing that I would I like that. I like that, by the way. I like having those words. When a customer says, I want my floor to look more modern. Okay, well, I'm gonna go to the van and go into the modern section. Where is that section?
Well said.
The modern section.
I have no idea, right? So what looks modern to you
What does-
might be different than what looks modern to me. But I love it when a customer says that, because then it gives me the opportunity to say, okay, well, what
Somewhere
does
to go.
modern look like to you? Right?
Yeah,
What does modern look like? Okay, and then I'm gonna get it back to things that I can actually pull out of the van. By the way, if the customer has a sample, right? So we've got a photo or a sample. They've been to Lowe's and they've got a sample and they say, I like this. What's my first question? Well, for a lot of people, their first question is, okay, let me see if I can get that. No, that's not. My question is, what is it about this that you like, right? So the customer hands you a board and says, I got this at Lowe's and I really like this. Okay, well, what is it about this that you like? Do you like the fact that the grain is really, really prominent? Do you like the color? Do you like the thickness? Do you like, what is it about this that you like? Because I'm not necessarily going to go to the van and find this, but I can find something that meets what it is that they like about it. The reality is, if they fell in love with this at Lowe's and they loved everything about it, then you're not going to be sitting in their house right now. They would have already bought from Lowe's.
Team, just a quick share, because it was big for me yesterday. In business to business sales, a lot of retailers try to do lighting, because it makes things pop. But I've got to be honest, I never expected the lighting to affect photos of flooring as much as I saw yesterday on wood. I was shocked that the same floor looked brownish gray compared to light gray, depending on whether it was a white light or orange light. And I only bring that up because my division my franchise owner said that the lighting, never go a color by a photo, try to pick a color that they visually see, but use the photo as a guide, I guess.
So room scenes and photos are really, really good for showing people variation, right? So you can show the customer that, hey, this has a lot of light and a lot of dark and whatever. But I 100% agree with you. When it comes to actually picking the color, you got to have the sample board in front of you.
I was shocked, Arlen. I was shocked, and I know about lighting, but I didn't realize it affected it that much. So it was a good lesson.
Nice. Is there anything else that you want to know before you run to the van and try to pick something out for a hardwood floor?
I would get a feel for what their thoughts are on the edge bevel. Some people get kind of weird about the edge bevel as far as, they think they want engineered or they think they want this, but they don't want any edge bevel. And you have to then take a moment to educate on, install sand finish in place versus the other products. Some people get hung up on, whether there's dirt getting stuck in there. Some people couldn't care less. Some people want to see it. Some people don't want to see it. So getting a feel for that not only helps you pick the right product, but also gets in their head a little bit about what their thoughts are.
Nice. Nice. Good. This looks like a pretty good list to me. Okay. Now, let's play this out for a second. Grant, you can be my customer here.
Okay.
All right, Grant, I want you to have in your mind, what is your perfect hardwood floor?
Got it.
Okay. All right, good. So Grant, when you're thinking about your hardwood floor, is there a particular color that you're interested in?
I really like deep, rich colors. So, something sort of a deep brown, really, really bold. That is, what appeals to me the most.
All right, and how about a sheen? Are you more of a high gloss person, low gloss person?
More low gloss, very natural, almost, kind of a natural matte finish would be preferred.
Okay. How about a width of the board?
Wider is better. I don't know what options you might have, but definitely something on the wider side would be my preference.
Okay. How about the feel of it? Are you looking for something smooth, something scraped? How do you want your floor to feel?
You know, I really like the rustic look, so something that probably looks like it's got a little weathering in it, or more of a natural, that it's not too finished off.
Okay. Do you have a preference for species? Oak, hickory, maple?
You know, I can't say that I really know the difference specifically of the species, but I certainly need it to be durable. I mean, I've got a dog and I've got, kids that are running around the house, so I'm gonna need something that can, weather all of that, and not get, too beat up or too scratched or dented.
Okay. Now, when you said a minute ago about it looking rustic. So in hardwood is graded. Select means that you really don't see any knots. It can still have sort of a rustic look with other features, but it doesn't have any knots. Then there's a number 1 common that has a little bit of knotting. Number 2 common is more knots. Tavern grade looks like it just came out of a bar. Do you have a preference on kind of what grade you would want?
Yeah, maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't mind a little nodding. I think it adds character, but I wouldn't want it to be maybe all the way to the extreme that you referenced at the end there. Somewhere kind of in the middle would be best.
Okay. And let's see, are you looking for a deep bevel, a little bit of a bevel? The bevel is what's in between the boards.
Probably less bevel is preferred, only because, we're gonna have a lot of traffic in the house and, dirt getting in and out of there and, people moving around. So I guess in theory, I wouldn't want all that building up in the cracks and crevices. So maybe something that's a little less deep in the ridging and the beveling.
Okay, good. All right. So let me pause here for a second. Grant, did that feel like we were going through 20 questions, the Spanish Inquisition?
No, those all actually felt pretty appropriate considering what we're trying to accomplish.
I mean, honestly, it feels that way to me. It feels like, you know what, you should have been able to do this in 3 questions instead of 12. We're not trying to play 20 questions here. And here's the danger that I see people run into. I want you to ask enough questions to be able to go out to the van and get close. Okay, get close. I'm not trying to get to a specific board, and here's why. Now, let's take a look. Those of you that have run a bunch of appointments, you tell me. Could I go to the board, could I go to the van, and could I find a pre-finished hardwood floor board that is deep brown, low gloss, wide, rustic look, it's durable, and a number 1, number 2 common that has less of a bevel? Can I find that in the van?
100%.
Maybe, but if he had said something like, I want a gray with a high gloss, and I want it to be narrow, all right, now I'm pigeonholing myself into so many characteristics that I can't meet it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get close, but I really don't want to ask so many questions that it leads me to a place that I can't get what the customer was looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like something like that, when he says wide, that really narrows it down because we don't have a lot of really wide hardwoods in the van.
Well, if I had asked him, Grant, what do you mean by wide? If he had said something like, well, wide to me is 7 inches. Well, crap, no, I don't have a lot of 7-inch boards.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of 5-inch boards, and it's okay. I can call those wide. They're wider than 2.5, right?
Yeah.
So as long as I stick with a wide instead of trying to narrow, well, I saw a board that was 7 1/4 inches wide. That's what I want. Well, crap, now I'm down to like 1 board in the van. Okay. So I don't want to pigeonhole it. Is there anybody here that has an interior design background, an interior designer background? I don't think so. I don't think this class has any interior designers. Good, we can make fun of them. All right, so I'm not really making fun of them, but one of the everybody has something that they have to overcome when it comes to selling. Okay, maybe to you a $20,000 hardwood floor just feels like it's a lot of money, and so you have to overcome that. Okay, maybe to you I just absolutely hate plastic floors and I'd never put a LVP floor in my house. Okay, but you might have to overcome that because you're going to be selling LVP, right? I'm not saying that you're having to overcome something that's unethical or immoral or something. I'm saying it might be something that you have to overcome. Well, interior designers typically have this, you know, especially when it comes to color, they want to get the perfect color. And so they'll go out and they'll run an appointment, but the perfect color won't be in the van. And as a result, then they spend the next 2 weeks trying to find the perfect color somewhere else. In the meantime, Empire has come, sold the job, and it's already installed. So, you know, you have a color that's close enough. I guarantee it. So what I'm going to suggest is pick 2 or 3 of these that have a big impact. So for me, I will typically, I'll ask the customer, you know, are you looking for a wide board or a narrow board? And I won't go into any more detail than that. Are you looking for something that's wider or narrower? Are you looking for something that's smooth or that has some character in it? And maybe give me an indication of the color. And that's it. Those are the 3 questions I'm going to ask. That's it. And that's going to get me close enough in the van. Close enough. Look, what if, I mean, Dan's got a good point. What if the bevel is a big deal for them? Okay. Well, if I bring in boards that have a bevel that's massive, they're going to tell me, I don't like that bevel. But if I ask them up front, what do you think about a bevel? Well, then I might be limiting what I can pull out of the van. Okay. Remember, you don't have to hit it perfect the first time. That's okay. I bring in 3 boards. They don't like any of those. I'll go get another 3 boards. Not a big deal. I'm trying to get close. Okay. And if I ask these 3 questions, if I say, you know, do you have a particular color in mind? Not what I wanted. I wanted this. All right. Have you got a particular color in mind? Are you looking for a wide or narrow? So again, I'm not going to use, you know, a particular, I'm just going to say wide or narrow. And then I get to define what that means. And, you know, are you looking for something that's smooth or maybe has a little bit of character? And that's as far as I really want to go. Now, when it comes to durability, well, that's good. But you know what? I have understood something about how they're going to use the space, right? Because they've already told me they're looking for something, dogs or whatever else. Maybe they've shown me a picture or a sample, and I've figured out what they like about that, and I can key in on that. The trick with this, once they've identified this for me, when I get to step 6, and I'm presenting the product, this is so key. Grant, I chose this board for you because you said that you were looking for something that was rustic and durable and that had sort of a deep brown finish. Fortunately, he described exactly what I've got here. So I chose this board for you because you said that you were looking for something that had kind of a rustic look. It's kind of got a matte finish. It's got a deep brown look to it, and it's in a wider board. Good. Right? Now, Grant may say, I don't really like, I mean, that's a lot of variation between the grains and where it's not grain. That's just really busy to me. That looks really busy to me. Okay, good. Well, if that's the case, no problem. Let's take a look at another board. Now I have another piece of information, right? But he can't argue with me and say, well, that's not what I asked for. Chose this because you said this, right? It's different than I chose this car for you because the Toyota Corolla gives us the best margin in the dealership. Well, no. I chose this board for you because you said these things, and it might have something to do with the way that the board looks and feels. It might also have something to do with, you know, when we went through the inspection, this is how they want it to last. And by last, I mean, this is how it should be durable. Okay, I chose this board for you because you said that you were looking for something that was durable with the dogs. This has a scuff resist platinum finish on it. And maybe I share with Grant a little bit about what scuff resist platinum means. Okay, but if that never came up, the dogs never came up, then I'm not even going to talk about that because that's not important to them. All right, good.
Real quick, Arlen,
Yes.
yourself or the experience in the room, I just learned about slate last night. Does hardwood across the country need to be maintained / sealed every X amount of time?
Sealed? No.
Okay.
No. And I want to share with you I want to share with you guys something else. So this is, I don't have mine here. I left them in the office the last time I was in the office. But I want to share this technique with you. All right. So you can go to Amazon and you can get black photo mat paper. It's just like they're like little frames. Okay. You can go and get, look at this. I can get however many this is. It's like 10 of them in a box. Okay. And take and cut these to make little L shapes. Cut them to make little L shapes. And then you can take that little L shape and you can use it to window color choices on the board. Let's see. I had them here, but I took them to the office and I don't think I kept the set. Oh, I do have a set here. Hot damn. Okay, this is going to be hard on camera, but I'm going to do this anyway. I have a board, and imagine, if you will, I mean, it could even be a carpet board. It's better on carpet. All right, I've got a carpet board, and the customer is having a hard time picking between, you know, I don't know if I want this one or this one. They're so close, or maybe this one and this one, right? So I don't know, is it that one or is it that one? Which one's better? All right, so one technique that you can use to help the customer pick out their perfect color is to take and black.
Let's see. Are you calling me
white.
from a lead I sent in?
Correct. It's from Anschluss. We're up.
All right, so if I take these black, sorry, see the cat has eaten this one. All right, but if I take this L shape, God, this is hard to do backwards. All right, if I take this L shape and cover up the colors around it, it makes it so much easier for the customer to be able to pick the color that they're looking for. It works a whole lot better on the floor. All right, but then you can do the whole better number one, better number two, better number one, better number two. Okay, now the nice thing about these, and I learned most of my good stuff from other people. The nice thing about this, one, they're cheap. You can go to Amazon and get a bunch of them and just cut them into L's. The other thing that I really like about this, and this is something that I was taught, I had to learn this. I used to use white paper to do this. And somebody that had a background in color shared with me that the white paper doesn't work so well. And the reason it doesn't work so well is because the light in the room reflects off of the white paper, and the white, it changes the way that your eyes see the color. But black absorbs light. And so if you use a black L, if you use black to outline that sample piece, it actually helps the customer see the color better. So I'll share you can just search for these. This is the Photomat, 8x10, whatever, for black, and the color black is what I'm looking for. And like I said, here I can get a pack of 10, simple, a pack of 10 for $10, and I can just take a pair of scissors or a knife and cut it, you know, go right up the edge here and give me a quick cut right there and a quick cut down here. And now I've got an L shape. I've got two L shapes that I can size over the, right over the color sample. Nice. Okay. Back to the board. Let's see, what time is it? It's 12 o'clock. Why don't we do this? Let's take 15 minutes. By now, I'm sure somebody's got to use the restroom or whatever and refill. So it's 12 o'clock on my clock. We'll come back at 12:15.
All right.
In a moment. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to do this MIS by DA. And we're going to take last year. And I want all branches. And then I'm going to start with, I'm only going to look at DAs. We can look at the whole company, but I'm only going to look at DAs to start with.
And while Arlen does that, team, if anybody on this call wants to have fun and, you know, for the rest of the year, you know, this class, if we want to share anything together, I would just love to, if I see somebody with a slightly higher close rate or there's a bunch of people with a higher close rate, then I would lean on that and try to reach out to people as well as vice versa. So
I will. I'll also share with you. So from this last convention, I don't mind sharing with you. There were 20 or so DAs that really shared their stories from convention.
yeah,
And I'll be happy to send that information to you as well because it has their contact info, and they're wide open to getting phone calls and stuff. Come on. All right, here we go. So these are DAs. So let's look at all last. Well, I want last calendar year.
Arlen, while you're doing that, can you export that to an Excel sheet and take the names off? Would that be okay to
Sure.
send?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so if I look at last calendar year, so from January to December of 2022, and I just look at totals, right? Let's just look at totals here. In total, Design Associates average job size was 7561, average close rate of 38%, selling at an average gross margin of 46%, and an average revenue per proposal. So revenue per proposal means that every time I ring a doorbell, every time I write an estimate, that's worth $2,900 to me. That doesn't mean I'm gonna land every job. But if I go to, you know, let's just say I go 2 or 3 jobs before I land one, based on the average job size, if I take the total revenue that I make and divide it by the total number of proposals that I did, this is a revenue per proposal number. There's another way to get there, and that is to take your close rate and multiply it by your average job size, and mathematically you get to the same thing. Now let's take a look at close rate. Just for fun, let's give some people some targets. You've got, I really don't want the branch names. Let me see if I can get this a different way, because I just want a list of the names. Branch is full. This gives it to me a different way. MIS by DA.
I'm muted and I'm chatting away. Arlen, as you were flying through this, was the close rate, I'm just calculating real quick, was the close rate 38 or 48? The average?
38.
38. Thank you.
Yep. All right, so here we go. This is what I wanted. I wanted to see it this way. So without respect to a particular location. So when I look at my close rate, there's some people at the top that have 100% close rates, and I don't believe that. But you look, somebody wrote 1 proposals, landed 1 job. Okay, so let's throw some of that out. Let's get down to somebody that's an actual design associate that is actually doing the work. Well, Kyle Santor is an actual design associate who's doing the actual work, and Kyle landed 251 jobs last year for $3.6 million at an 89% close rate and an average job size of almost 14,000. Now that's real, but Kyle has been doing this for 38 years, and almost every job that he runs now is a previous customer. So they come back to him because they want to buy back, right? So it's real, but
It's also, or like you talked about earlier with the sale increase, it's also organically growth because referrals and still getting, a few appointments here and there, or revisits, phase 2s, all that stuff. So the close rate's probably, so team, just so you all know, some quick numbers. If you have an average close rate and an average job size, for every sale, let's say, you could run every $1 million, run 7 appointments a week. And you should be able to, it's 7 appointments a week, team. That's it. Every $1 million.
That's it. Where is he? Ryan. Okay, Ryan actually started in February of last year. So this is actually a little bit less than a full year. Ryan came through this class. He's up in Massachusetts. He did $1 million in sales last year at a 59% close rate and a 48% gross margin. And it doesn't show on here, but I've done the analysis on Ryan's work. He has that high of a close rate on home advisor leads. I mean, that's just, it doesn't matter if it's a home advisor lead or if it's a referral lead, Ryan's going to close it. Okay.
All right.
So you can get down through the list and you can see these are your heavy hitters, right? These are absolutely the heavy hitters.
And team, if you'll notice, Arlen, would you go back to that Kyle? Team, if you'll notice, the total appointments run, I think it said like 340 something.
See, let's get Kyle. Where's Kyle? There's
And
Kyle.
again, only because he was right in that $1 million. So where's the jobs not landed? I could have sworn, did you possibly go left or right? And I just don't see
That
it.
wasn't Kyle.
Oh, it wasn't.
What are you
Oh,
looking
okay.
for?
That was
But
me.
he's
I think
got
that
a
was
higher close
Ryan.
rate. He's got a higher
Ryan?
close. Yeah. Thank you. It was the wrong. I was thinking Kyle. Thank you, whoever just said that. And I only say whoever because I'm looking at the screen, not at the chatter. So basically, the numbers I just gave you come out to 364 appointments a year for each $1 million. And that seems like right on track again for team members that don't have the luxury of that 10-year phase 2 referral 100% close.
Yep.
Good stuff. Thank
And
you.
like I said, Ryan came in last year, so he doesn't have that benefit either. He's just really good at sales, right? And Ryan did not just, I mean, I know Ryan. Ryan did not come out of a flooring industry. Ryan was hospitality. The guy was front desk at a hotel.
Attaboy.
All right, so he had to learn flooring, he had to learn sales, he had to learn all of it, but he goes into a house and his thing in the house is, I'm not here to sell, I'm here to help you guys. And so it's very much a hospitality thing, right? Boom.
That's awesome. And honestly, passionate about customer service, so it's a natural win.
That's it.
Yep.
The other thing that I'll share with you, just while we're here and we're camped out here for just a second, if Ryan goes to a home and he does not land the job, you know, does he go out to the van? What do you think? He goes out to the van and kicks the tire and he's all down on himself.
No.
Just, I didn't land that one. No, of course not. Because
Move
you know
on.
what? If you got a 59% close rate, you know that the next house you go to, you're going to land.
The next
I mean,
three.
come on.
Yeah.
The next 3 you're going to land, right? I mean, it's just, it's a mindset. Sales is nothing more than the transfer of belief. If you have belief in yourself, you have belief in your company, and you believe it, then you can sell it to somebody else. If you don't believe it, you can't sell
Then-
it to anybody else.
That's right. And team, real quick, what we were just talking about as far as, oh, excuse me. Sorry, Alan, I got to take this.
All right. So yeah, I'll be happy to share some numbers with you. The other thing that I will share with you is, let me find this.
I was just going to say to the team that one of the things I say to people is, because rapport is used all the time in home sales. You know, you got to build rapport to make that sale. In Vegas, and again, I know this is territorial or regionally. What I tell people is, because Vegas is so transient, I focus on relationships. So this is about not only today, but 20 years from now, when you need phase 2 or whatever, that referral to come back to you, that you're there to the long-term solution, not just that day's sale. And it's served me well.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna share again, but I'm trying to find something for you guys real quick. And I will end up sending this to you. I just have to get to it.
And team, I actually mentioned the you know, I'm here to help. I'm not here to sell you. I literally say that to people. Then I go back to that transparency thing when it's that uncomfortable. Well, you know, what was your number? What were you thinking? How much do you have to deposit? All those questions become much easier when there's a level of trust.
Okay, so this is the file, and I will send this to you guys. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
this was part.
Sorry for the sidebar, team. Ugh.
No, this is good. I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you bringing this up. All right, so this was part of, and I know there's a couple people on here, a couple of the franchisees on here that were at convention that may or may not have seen this, but this was a session that I led. Well, I pulled it together. This was really an opportunity for design associates to share their experience with one another. Okay. And we went through one by one. So Matt Beauregard, I didn't have detailed notes on Matt, but Matt did. He started in 2018. So these stats are from 2021 and 2022. You can see here 2021 and 2022. Let's go down to the next one. Tyler Chandler is in Vancouver, Washington. He works for Toby Tabor. In 2021, he did 1.3, almost 1.4 million in sales. In 2022, almost 1.8 million in sales. He's got a 52% close rate. In 2022, he had 10 months over 100K per month. He had 3 months out of those 10, he had 3 months that were over 200K in 1 month. And so I asked him, you know, what's the sales process that you use to close sales in the home? All right. So then he answered, you know, the question. What do you do to build a local book of business? Okay, well, he talks about that. So what do you do? What's your follow-up process? Okay, good. And he went through all that. You'll notice that at the top of this, every one of these people put their cell phone number down, and they're absolutely open to you guys calling them. They're absolutely open to connecting.
And I'll just say, I've ran appointments. I took a trip to Vancouver like the first couple weeks into having this job. And I ran a couple leads with Tyler, and he's a beast. I'll just say it, he's a badass.
That's awesome. You say it, listen.
Jordan is up in Canada. One of the things that I absolutely love about Jordan, and it doesn't show up in here, Jordan he also was, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was also hospitality. I know he didn't come out of he has a hospitality background. He had nothing to do with flooring before. He had to learn flooring. He had to learn everything. He started in 2022, and immediately jumped out there. 41% close rate, a big average job size. Now, this is the thing that I found was impressive about Jordan. Jordan had been doing this for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and he went to his franchise owner and said, you know what? I think we should raise our margin. I think we need to be charging more. Okay. So she went into the system. He works for Shannon Forrester in Saskatchewan. They loved coming to convention with shirts that say, we're from the city that rhymes with fun. Okay, I'll let y'all work that out. So he shows up at convention, and he had told Shannon, I want to raise our margin. So they raised the margin 5 points. I said, okay, Jordan, so when they raised the margin, what happened to your close rate? He says it went up.
Correct.
All right, well, that's counterproductive, right? I mean, if you raise your margin, you would think your close rate would go down. But he said, it's a confidence thing. I know I'm worth it.
That's right. You puff your chest out a little bit more. We're direct employees.
Yeah.
We're our own installers. We should be more because we're the best. That's right. And that's okay to say to the customer, don't you want the best for your home? Sorry, I'm getting.
Absolutely. Good. Tom Gevler. So Tom's story, just to give you a little bit of background on him, he's been in this business for over 30 years. Now, I will tell you, Tom really doesn't do in-home sales. In Flagstaff, they have a retail showroom. So it's a little different. He's not going into the house. He's doing stuff from inside the store, but he's got over 30 years experience. And if you ever wanted to ask something about an installation or this type of product versus this type of product, I mean, this guy knows. He is truly a product knowledge expert. I mean, he's really, really good. Mario is down in Winter Garden, Florida. His big deal, I mean, he puts a yard sign out everywhere he goes. I'm convinced that if he pulls through a McDonald's, he's got a yard sign at the McDonald's parking lot. He's got more yard signs, I think, than what he does samples. And he puts them all over the place. So I'll send, there's Ryan's, we've talked about Ryan. He's got a 58% close rate on digital leads at a 49% margin. And everybody wants to whine and complain, oh, Home Advisor leads suck. Angie's List leads suck. You know what? Ryan will take them every day of the week because he's going to go close them. So anyway, I will send this document to you guys. This is, let's see, Jesse, you know Amanda very well.
Yeah, she's pretty solid.
Yep. So she was, she helped me with this. We've got Daryl Myers, David Reichwein. Check this out, guys. David Reichwein. Has anybody met or talked with David? Clayton, you're closest to him.
I have rode with David. He's a unique individual.
He is a unique individual. All right. So he started in August of 2021. Started in August of 2021. This guy has 33 patents, 29 of which are in flooring. He comes with a nuclear, he doesn't consider himself an expert in flooring. He's a nuclear physicist of all things. All right.
Yeah,
So,
that's an odd side gig. It's just a little different than me.
It really is. So in 2021, after starting in August, he landed almost $740,000 in sales. In 2022, almost 2.5 million in sales. And he's got this down. I mean, you think a 10-step process is impressive. David's got like a 32-step process. Now, it's based on the Inspired Sales System, but he's got it all broken down in his head. This is where that nuclear physicist comes in. He's got, if they say this, I go here. If they do this, I go here. It is absolutely process-driven. Absolutely process-driven. 9 proposals per week. And he helped me with this. He went through and listed the organizational structure again for his competitors. He talked about, what their sales force looks like. So for example, Floor Coverings International, salespeople are employees of a locally owned franchise. You got Empire 50 Floors, Footprints Flooring. Those are all 1099 consultants. Big Box, the salespeople are employees. So, I mean, he went through everything that you could think of. What is the focus? Floor Coverings International, we provide solutions. Empire, we provide floor and or installation from contracted installers with a very limited selection. Specialty retail, everything. He went through all of this. I mean, there's so much information that he gave. There's Kyle up in Vermont. So anyway, without going into all the details, this is
Right.
some good reading for you guys. If you want to
I'd
dive
love to
into
have
this
that.
and do a deep dive here, I will absolutely send this to you. And just know that these guys are open to give them a call, figure out
Thank
what they're
you.
doing. In fact, Kyle gets so many phone calls that he has actually created his own website for answering questions.
Oh my gosh.
That does not surprise me one bit with Kyle.
That's awesome.
What is it? I forget the name of the web. It's like asktheflooringguy.com or something. It's a way for him to just answer questions for people.
Very cool. Much deeper dive than I expected. So thank you. And it sounds like with that in an Excel spreadsheet, it's a great way to, create a vision for your van
Yep.
goal.
Absolutely. Okay. So let me bounce back to the whiteboard here and pick up where we left off. Good sidebar. Stop sharing. Good. Okay. So we went through hardwood. I like starting with hardwood. If instead of hardwood, you were doing an LVT floor, what are the questions that you would want to ask the customer about how they want their floor to look and feel and last?
Probably the same questions. Yeah, I'm fairly close from what I've seen so
Yeah,
far.
I mean, it's basically the same questions, right? I mean, I want to know kind of what color, theme, width, not so much. Probably not width, but feel for sure. It's basically the same. All right, what about laminate?
Really, once again, the same kind of basic question.
Similar. Are you wanting
Right.
this in a water prone area?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it might be that, they walk you through the house and they're wanting to put something in the bathroom. Okay, well, I know I don't even have to ask them about water at that point because we're staying in a bathroom. So, right. So that's, nevertheless, it gives me a way of being able to connect the dots, right? Okay. So whether it's hardwood, LVT, laminate, a lot of these are going to be the same questions. Okay. So let's jump to carpet then. What are the questions that I want to ask if I'm trying to select a product for carpet?
A lot of them would be similar to the other ones, but then I would get into plush, how plush you like it. Are you looking pattern versus a solid color versus, what kind of look are you going for overall?
Okay, what
Are you
else?
thinking about getting a pet?
Okay, what impact would that, how would that impact my selection?
Well, you
Stain
want
resistant.
something that's stain resistant
Stain
or
resistant.
has a
I'm not gonna
waterproof
pick
backing.
wool.
Not gonna pick wool, okay. All right. What else? What else do I want to know about somebody's carpet selection?
Just general feel.
Okay, just a general feel. Okay.
You see them plunging their fingers through it until they're happy, I mean.
Okay.
Color is important.
Color is very important.
Arlen, I do ask if it's their forever home.
Hmm. So how do you use that?
I just ask, if they're growing roots in the area, is this your forever home? That way I have an idea what to look for.
All right, but so if they say yes or no, how does that influence what you pick out of the van?
It depends on the pricing for me.
Okay. So you use this to help you understand what price point to go for.
Right.
Okay. All right.
I agree with Portia. The forever home question is a great question, because if you get to a price, I'm making up numbers, whatever you're presenting, 5,000, 5,500, and they say, well, we were thinking 4,000. Well, isn't your forever home worth an extra $500? And I think it's those moments that you use that stuff.
Nice. Good. Okay. Anything else with carpet that you guys look at and you're like, no, we really, if I'm going to go out to the van and pick something, I need to know what I'm pulling.
I also look at thread, for instance, like polyester versus nylon, like if it's going on the stairs, if it has like a lot of traction in that area.
Okay.
I think pads should be considered.
Type of backing on the carpet.
Loop or pile.
Good. Okay. So this is a pretty good list, right? Now, same as with hardwood, I don't want to just pepper somebody with 20 questions. So I want to make sure that my language, I can get this down to 2 or 3 questions. Are you looking for something that's, and maybe we've already discussed this as we walk through the space together, but are you looking for something that's a loop or something that's textured? How do you want it to feel underfoot? Is there a particular color that you're looking for? I'm hoping, I'm assuming anyway, that when it comes to pets, that's something that we sort of, I didn't ask them about pets with respect to the flooring, but if they've got a pet, I hope that came out during the warm up. Maybe I ask them, are you planning on getting a pet? Okay.
Another thing I ask with carpet, just started doing this actually, is asking, are you looking for like a more of a warm tone or warm overall feel, or more cool and, and if I have to explain what I'm talking about, sometimes they if I'm like, well, if we're talking warm, are we talking like tans, maybe some browns? If we're talking cooler, we're talking like grays, maybe like a blue gray,
Good. Good. Okay. If I ask 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these questions, that probably is going to give me what I need to be able to go out to the van and pull something. Right? Well, what if I come back and I say, I chose this product for you because you wanted something solid and you wanted something that felt really good and you were looking for sort of a warm color, and they look at it and say, oh, I hate that.
To me, I make it clear before I got to the van, let's get these details in and let's just find a starting point, because there's so many options. Let's get some of the attributes you want, find a starting point, and then, if we need to go up or down from there, that's our opportunity.
Yeah, if I need to go out and pick a different board for you, I'll be happy to go pick a different board for you, right? So again, take the pressure off yourself that you feel like you have to get the perfect thing the first time you walk out there. I want to get close. I do want to get close. And you're going to find, if you're excited about it and you really love this color and you really love this product, you're going to end up selling, because that excitement will transfer to your customer. But if you come in with a sheepish look and you're like, yeah, I don't know if you're going to like this or not, but I pulled this out for you. Okay, you're not selling that board. But if I come in and say, you know what, I pulled this board for you because you wanted something that the dogs were going to be good with, and this has got this lifeguard, I'll share more about that with you. and you were looking for something that was really kind of a light color, and I've got 2 or 3 really light colors on here, and I think one of these is going to be great. Okay, good. I'm not picking the exact color. I'm just pointing them in a direction. Cool. All right. I've had enough words. It's time for you guys to have words. So let's stop this share and break you guys up into breakout rooms. So what I want you to do, we're going to spend, and this is going to end up taking the better part of the afternoon. I'm going to break you up into breakout rooms. I'm going to try to keep it to 2 or 3 people. And in this first little mini session, I want you to do a warm up with the customer. I want you to ask them the transition questions, okay? And then sort of do a mock inspection of the space. So do a step 2. I realize you're not going to walk around the space because we're on a camera, but I want you to at least ask good questions about what is it that you want your new floors to look like. So you're essentially doing step 1 and step 2. What is a good warm up with this customer? And then what is it that you're looking for your space? What is it that you love about this? What do you hate about it? You know, what do you want your new space to look like, et cetera, okay? So I want to keep this to 2 or 3 people in a room. Let's do this. And again, make sure that I don't have the tablet and the laptop. I mean, my stuff isn't in the way. Let's see, that's 2. I think I've only got 1 room that's got 3. Okay, this will work. Good. All right, so I'm going to give you guys about 20 minutes to do a good warm up. So warm up one direction and then warm up the other direction. And so you really have about 10 minutes each. So I know that means that we're sort of cutting the warm up a little bit short. But warm up with your customer and then find out what they want their floors to look like. Are they looking for hardwood? Are they looking for carpet? Do you want it to be, you know, wide planks, soft and plush? What are you looking for with your new space? So you're essentially doing a step 1 warm up, ask the transition questions, and get into the floor and understand what it is that they're looking for their floor. If you would, let's take 20. I'll give you 25 minutes to do this. So that's going to put us right at 1:10 on my clock. And then we will end up taking a break when you guys come back in. So hold off on taking a break until we come back together, and then we'll get some instructions and disperse from there. When I push you into the breakout rooms, I'm going to pull everybody back from the breakout room at exactly 2:15 Eastern time. So that's an hour and 4 minutes from now. So what happens in this hour? 1, go ahead and finish up. You know, if you guys got cut off or whatever, go ahead and finish up what you were doing, okay? then I want you to take a lunch break, grab something to eat. I've got brisket calling my name, so there's that. And I want you to write a proposal. Just do a training task in your tablet. Write a proposal for the person that you were just with. Now, you know that this. Look, let me take some pressure off. You know that this proposal doesn't mean anything, right? So don't try to get down into the weeds and, oh my gosh, I got to do this, I got to do this. It should literally take you 3 minutes to draw a couple of rooms, make a couple of boxes, put some product in there, and off you go, right? So this really should take 5 minutes to maybe 3 minutes to be able to write a proposal for somebody. Okay, it should be that fast. Don't overthink this. So I push you back into the breakout rooms. If you guys weren't quite finished with what you were doing, finish what you were doing. Write a proposal in your tablet, and then I'm going to leave you in that breakout room until 2:15 Eastern time. So whatever you need to do, lunch, bathroom, emails, whatever, take care of all that. And at 2:15, I will see you guys back here in the big room. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Arlen, just to be clear. The proposal, that's gonna be something that I'm gonna present after we come back from lunch?
It's something you're going to present to your
Okay.
customer, yes.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
All right.
sorry, Arlen, just to even clarify farther. So we're already picking out a product for them? Like we've already presented boards to them and they've chosen what they like?
Well, this is step 3. So in step 3, you haven't presented a board yet. So I would say that you're probably putting in PGs.
Okay.
Okay.
The options.
Yep. Put your 3 options together, and then we'll work with what you've got in the system at that point.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And again, don't overthink it. I know a lot of your franchise owners tell you got to play with freight, you got to play with waste, and all that. Don't worry about it because we're not analyzing the numbers. It's just something to have to be able to work with. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. So 2:15 Eastern time, it gives you an hour to take care of all that, and I will see you guys then. Start the recording again. Now that we understand the flow and what we're doing a little bit better, maybe this will make a little bit more sense now. You can see how to use it. And this dovetails perfectly with the question that Ashley asked right before we went into the breakout rooms, right? So you've gone into the home and you had a great warm up, and now you've walked the space with somebody and you understand what they're looking for. And so you've built 3 proposals. I like to call them rough draft proposals, right? These are my rough drafts, okay? So I've got 3 rough draft proposals here. Okay, so what's gonna happen next? I'm gonna come into the home, I'm gonna give a company story. And once I finish with my company story, so we can do this on the screen together. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna do my company story. That's great, that's great. Oh my gosh, now I've got the customer just absolutely eating out of my hands. Oh, they love this. Oh, big box, how do we choose? All the good things, right? Okay, so now I get to the end of my company story. I can hit the back button and I can go back to this screen. Now, at this point, step 6, I've moved past the company story, I've moved past the installation video, and now I'm gonna help the customer pick out the exact product, right? So again, let's think about where we are. We've done the warm up, we've walked the space, I've put together some rough draft proposals, I've done my company story now, and now we're gonna sit down and go through the products. Okay, so we've decided on a specific board. So option 1, let's just remind ourselves, option 1 was we're gonna do carpet in all these different places, we're gonna do hardwood on the stairs, we're gonna do LVP in the bathrooms. Okay, so that's my option 1. Okay, great.
Hey, Arlen, real quick.
Yes.
A little bit off subject, but I was looking at your drawing. When you have you've got all your doors on your rooms, do you not put any doors in your hallway?
I don't,
Okay.
because then it duplicates the number of transitions that I need. And yes, I know that there's a functionality on the drawing screen. I know there's a functionality down here that it talks about sharing doors.
Yeah,
So if I put 2 rooms together and there's a function that's called sharing doors,
yeah.
and what I find is that when people try to do that, the only thing it does is that it eliminates that one transition piece. Okay, great. But it's a whole lot faster to just not bother drawing the transitions in the hallway, put the door in the rooms, don't bother with it in the hall, and then you don't have to worry about sharing doors, and it's a lot faster.
Because that's not really that's not really enough, when it comes to quarter round or something like that, that's really not enough to matter, is it?
No, it's
Okay.
insignificant,
Okay.
insignificant. Okay. I would say that your bigger quarter round miss is, like, we did this bathroom as one big space. But the reality is I've got, that's two little rooms and a little linen closet and whatever else. So the quarter round that I'm not taken out for in the hallway, well, I'm going to use that in that bathroom anyway.
Gotcha.
Okay. So no, in the end, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference.
Okay.
Okay. So, I do my presentation for the customer, and now we sit down on the floor together and we pick product, and I use my little black L's and we pick the perfect product. We pick the absolute perfect product. Now, this is a critical moment because I don't want the customer freaking out about what I'm about to do. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the pre-close question. Other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? In fact, a lot of times I like to ask a question before that. Now, I just throw this out there, use it or don't use it. Like, the customer has picked out the product. Grab my piece of wood. Grant said that he absolutely loved this one. This is the one. He just can't imagine living life without this in his home anymore. Okay, great. So Grant, that's the one you love? And he says yes. And so a lot of times I like to ask, okay, so this is the one you love. Grant, do you have any questions about anything about this project? How we would do it, or how it's going to be installed, or anything like that? And maybe he does and maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Oftentimes you'll get the question, well, how long is this going to take, or whatever, right? Okay. All I'm doing, I want to make sure that I'm answering his questions, but it's also going to buy me about 20 seconds. And that's all I need. I need about 20 seconds to do what I'm about to do. So I ask Grant the question. While Grant's answering me, here's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go right back here. Now, Grant doesn't see this. This is the tablet's facing me. I'm going to hit complete option. And I'm going to come down here. So the first section is going to be my carpet. Now, what is my carpet right now? My carpet just says PG3. You see it at the top of the screen, right? It just says PG3 carpet. I'm going to come down to the bottom of this section, and there's a little squiggly. It's two arrows that crisscross each other. It's what I call the swap button, or the swaparoo button. I'm going to hit that little button, and I'm now going to put in the exact product. So he picked Winner's Choice. Winner's Choice. So get the spelling exactly right. Get the spelling exactly right. So let's see, Winner's Choice. And it's Winner's Choice 2 is the one that he picked. And he picked, you'll notice all of the colors are in here and everything. And he picked this one called Winner's Choice 2 Cashew. And now watch what it's done. At the top of this section now, it has changed that PG3 to have the exact product name. And if it has the exact product name, it also has the exact product price. So now I'm not worried about whether or not, is this a little bit above or a little bit below. In the bathroom, PG3 floated vinyl, we decided on, I'm going to just hit my little switcheroo button there too. And for this PG3, he decided on Lamberton. And sure enough, it was the Pinot color. Now when I hit the little back button, you'll notice that that price has changed just a little bit. Not much. I think in total it changed about $400. It's not a big change. So the reality is, if your franchise owner is happy to live in the averages, you can leave the PGs just like they are. It's not a problem. But if you want to make sure that you have the exact product so that the exact product shows on the proposal and there's no question about whether it's too much or too little or whatever, on the averages, this is the way to do it. Okay, so I explained all that, and that took too long. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go back to here. And I'm gonna play this out in real time. So Grant, this is the carpet and this is the LVP that you absolutely love. Grant, do you have any questions about how this project would go or anything that I've missed?
Oh, you've done a great job of kind of defining, what would happen next in the installation projects, but I guess I am curious, like, could you just give me a general idea of how long this project might take, just so I can understand what I'm gonna have to plan for and, make adjustments for?
Yeah, so a project this size, the carpet itself is really just a day, but because we've got the carpet and the luxury vinyl plank to do, we're probably looking at a grand total of 2 days. It's not going to be a long project. So the first day we're going to come in, we're going to focus on doing that bathroom first. That way, any mess that we make in terms of ripping out tile or whatever, if it gets the carpet dirty, it's not a big deal because we're about to rip the carpet out the second day anyway. So we'll knock that bathroom out first, and then once the bathroom's done, the next day we'll come right back in and knock out the carpet for you.
Okay, excellent. Well, yeah, thanks for that. That helps.
Cool. So Grant, we're about to have an adult conversation about money. Other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today?
Well, you've done a great job of sort of quantifying what the job would entail, and I certainly feel confident in this, this product that we've chosen. I do need to speak to my wife and we were going to get some other bids, but I feel pretty good about what we're doing here. I just might need to speak to her this afternoon.
Okay, no worries. Well, look, I'm gonna do everything I can to not let price or payment stand in the way of you getting the floor that you love and deserve.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. Thank you. You've been very professional.
All right, so now I'm on this screen and it's facing me. I click open price and payment sheet, and now I'm ready to do the close. Now I turn the tablet towards Grant. The total retail price for your project is $15,096. You told me earlier that you got in touch with 3 of the people on my reference list. That's great because that gets you a $150 discount, bringing your total down to just $14,946. Now, I never know how people want to pay for a project like this, so I took the liberty of putting together some payment options. 24 months would be $710 a month. 36 months is just $503, and 48 months is $400 a month. And once your job's complete and you're 100% satisfied, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check, or would you want to take advantage of one of the payment options? All right, so let's time out right there. To go back just a second, you see what I did? By asking Grant a question about what, anything that he wants to talk about, it buys me the 30 seconds that I need to be able to go back to this screen, and open up the option that we're looking at and now replace the PG with the actual product name. Does that make sense? Okay, now you have to practice this. Just like everything else that we've done, if you try to do this move for the first time while you're sitting in a customer's home, I guarantee it will not work. You will find something that screws up on the tablet. All of a sudden, you've lost your work. You deleted your drawing. I mean, everything goes haywire, and before you know it, you're pulling out a pencil and a piece of paper, and you're trying to do it manually. Okay, so you have to practice this. This is something that, with practice, it's very, very smooth to be able to go back to this screen, make your change, and come back forward again. Questions on the how we did this? Does it seem like magic?
Yeah, Arlen, when you change the specific product in option 1, does it change it for the other options as well?
I just put them out there a second ago.
No, you're only changing it for that one option. Okay. But the reality is, if I end up showing Grant this price, so let's just go back here. I'm in the wrong place. Let's get back to where we belong. Right, so here we go. So I've asked Grant the closing question, and Grant says, oh man, there's no way I can do that. Walk through the walk of life with him, and he tells me, no, you know what? It's not about the amount of time. I just don't feel comfortable paying $15,000 for a project like this. Okay, well, let's take a look at another option. Well, now if we're looking at another option, I've bought some time to be able to go back and make that change to the other option. Now, in this case, maybe it's exactly the same carpet and everything. No problem. I can just bounce right back. Again, it's 20 seconds. You get good at this, it's 20 seconds to make that change.
Hey, on the completed option, I just want to make sure I understand this correctly, because this is how I've been taught to do it. On the completed option page where it's got the list of everything. And you go, yeah. Now, the tax group, do we, like, for me, I know at that, the top, the tax group, I have to drop down and put in where I'm at. Now,
Yep, 100%.
yes.
So
Okay.
depending on where you are, absolutely, depending on where you are, if you're in one of these areas that has multiple tax groups, depending on what street you're standing on, then you're going to drop down up here and you're going to pick exactly where you are in order to apply the right amount of sales tax to it.
Okay.
So like we've had fun with this discussion. Roland is in New Jersey, and it's the one thing that New Jersey has made easy for him. He has one tax group. Everything else is completely ridiculous, but the New Jersey taxes, for whatever reason, the sales tax is fairly easy. Michael, on the other hand, is in Atlanta, and it literally depends on what street you're standing on. I mean, it's just stupid.
I have a question. Can you default it to have no tax on the tablet?
You can.
Okay, because we don't charge tax here at all. So
Well, that's interesting because you have to pay it.
right, we have to pay it on the product when we buy it, but we don't sell it to the customer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Charles doesn't know how to make it a zero, have him reach out to me and I'll be happy to show him. It's something he has to set up on his branch page in Salesforce, but he can absolutely change it so that, I mean, by default at the top, it says all product and all labor, but if you want both of those to be zero, he can absolutely change both of those to zero in Salesforce, and then you don't have to mess with it anymore.
That would be good.
Yeah, because I know you got to be careful with that, because I think Scott's going through a thing with Mohawk right now to where we were paying taxes on our purchases, but then we were also taxing the customer as well. So we're trying to figure all that out.
Yeah, well, you should do one or the other, because otherwise you're paying tax twice.
Yeah.
And, regardless of where you are on taxes and political and whatever else, I don't think anybody wants to pay double what their taxes, what they're doing right now. All right, good. Let's see. I got David stuck in the waiting room. Let's bring him in. And, right. So now I've had an opportunity to show Grant the price. Back to where we were. I've had an opportunity to show Grant the price, and I'm going to show you another option here. Okay, two ways to do something. One way, when I'm back, let's say I'm back on this screen, Grant isn't seeing he's not seeing the tablet. Again, one of the things that I like to do is just remind him of exactly what's included. Okay, so Grant, other than price or payment, well, I'm not going to let price or payment stand in the way of you getting the floors that you love and deserve. Grant, I just want to make sure that we're clear on what's included in this proposal. So we're going to remove the existing carpet. We're going to remove the existing tile. We're going to come back and we're going to remove the carpet on the stairs. We're going to come back in and we're going to, once we've pulled the tile out of the bathrooms, we're going to put luxury vinyl plank in those bathrooms. We're going to put hardwood on the stairs, and then we're going to put carpet everywhere upstairs like we talked about. We will certainly have the trim. We'll take care of the trim in the bathrooms. There's probably going to be a little bit of trim work that we've got to do on the stairs, but don't worry, we're going to take care of that too. And then I'm going to show them the price. This is, so the total for doing this project is $15,096, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's one way to do it. Can I show you an alternate way to do it that also requires practice? All right, so here's an alternate way to do it. Grant says, well, he might want to talk to his wife. Okay, that's great. I'm not going to let price or payment stand in the way of you getting the floors that you love and deserve. So Grant, before I show you the price, now watch what I'm doing. I'm going to the button that says continue to proposal. Grant, before I show you the price, let me just walk you through everything that's included in this proposal. So here's some information about getting ready for install, and this is a little bit about who we are. So in the bonus room, the girls' bedroom, the office, the boys' bedroom, and the hall, we're going to put in that winner's choice. It's a 12-foot wide carpet mushroom. You'll notice that we've got the freight to bring the carpet in and the pad itself. There's a transition strip that we're going to have to do, which is basically right at the top of the stairs. We've got our standard carpet installation, standard furniture removal and haul away of carpet and pad, and of course installing that transition. And then in the 2 bathrooms, this is where we're doing that Lamberton. And I left the 1/4-inch plywood in there because of the height difference. Remember, we talked about how when we pull the tile out, it's going to drop. So I'm going to put in a little 1/4-inch piece of plywood to help so that you don't have a big gap under the doorway. It's not a ton of plywood because it's a small room. And then, of course, on the stairs, we're going to come in and we're going to put those oak stair treads in. So any questions on the proposal itself? No? Okay, good. Well, the total price is $15,096. Your reference list discount, your total, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so this takes a little bit of practice. And the reason it takes a little bit of practice is because if I come to this sheet, if I go too far, oh, I've given too much information now. I don't want Grant to see the price on this page. So I need to know that once I get past that last section and I see where it says on my tablet, yours might be a little different. On my tablet, once I see warranty and insurance, I have to stop. I can't keep scrolling. If I keep scrolling, I go too far and I've given too much information away. But I'm very happy to walk him through all the details of what it is that we're going to do, and then just stop where it says warranty information. See if he's got any questions. Then I can turn the tablet back to me, hit the back button, open up my price and payment sheet, turn it back to him, and now we've got our price and payment sheet open. Now, I'll be honest, I do it both ways. I don't have a personal preference either way. I feel like I can verbally tell the customer what we're doing and it lands, or I can go into the proposal page and I can walk through the details of the proposal and then just, control your swiping so that you don't go too far, and then go back and walk in and open it up this way and do it that way.
On that proposal, there's no way for them to, I know you can itemize those lines, but there's no way for them to see where it says the discount. There's no way for them to see where that discount is on there without putting all the other stuff in those line items, is there?
Yeah, so the discount shows up after I've done this. So let's just say in real life, I probably haven't put that in yet. So I'm going to show all this, and there's not going to be a discount yet because I haven't put it in yet.
No, I was talking about the number for the discount. There's no way to put a number on there without filling in the numbers for everything else, is there?
What do you mean?
So where you had, if you put that discount back on there, it says discount.
Yeah, the reference list discount?
Yes, but there's no way for on that proposal for it to show $150, so where they can see on that proposal that they've received $150 off.
No, it doesn't. It just says reference list discount. It doesn't put the number there.
Okay, that's what I was asking. 'Cause I tried to mess with it the other day, but I noticed when I tried to add it on there, if I click certain things, it broke down the price for everything. I was like, no, I'm not putting that on there. They don't need to see all that.
Well, I mean, right, you can pull all the detail when you go into Salesforce, but in the tablet, this is as much detail as you get.
Yeah.
Okay. And no, it'll just say reference list discount, but it won't do anything more than that. Now, maybe, you know what? Maybe you like to give a military discount. I don't know. You decide, you and your franchise owners decide. So I've got a $200 military discount. Okay, great. Well, I can type that in here. Okay, perfect. Well, now when I go to the proposal, I can scroll down at the bottom and I've got a reference list discount, and then it just calls it an additional discount.
Okay,
It doesn't say military, it doesn't put in here what I typed, it just says additional discount. Okay,
Okay.
good. That's why, that's another reason why I don't like, I don't want the customer to see the number yet. So when I'm here, if I'm gonna go through the proposal first, I'm gonna walk through the proposal line by line, and I'm gonna stop. Because I don't want the customer to see the price on this page. Now, part of the reason I don't want them to see the price on this page is because I do want them to see the total's $15,096. You see that I'm taking $150 off for that. You see that I'm taking $200 off for that, which brings your total down to this.
Yeah.
Right? And then they can see the number change right in front of their eyes. It's also why just sending an email after the fact and saying, oh, here's your proposal, that doesn't work. You've got to have the pricing discussion in the home in front of the customer. All right, so here's where we are. You guys have put together some options, and I want you to be able to sell those options. So where we left off, you had created some proposals. That's good. So maybe you're on this screen on your tablet. I'm going to send you back into the same breakout rooms, and I want you to, you're coming back into the home. I want you to go through the company story, present a product to your customer. If you don't have a product, pretend. If you're the customer, be nice. You absolutely love it. It's good. But I do want you to try to practice that going back and changing the product, right? So if you got a favorite carpet name or something, or pull it off of the list or pull it out of the product selector, whatever you've got to do, but actually go in and try to make that change. Hit the little swaparoo button and try to make that change in your tablet so that you've at least done it once. And walk through the close with them, okay? So I'm going to bounce in and out of some rooms just to see if you guys are okay. If I pop into your room, you know, I'm not going to say anything. If you need me, great. If you don't, that's okay. I'm going to pop in and out of some of the rooms, okay? It's not meant to babysit. I want to make sure that if you guys need anything, that I'm there. So that'll also help me gauge how much time we need, because we've got about an hour or so to walk through the rest of this. So let's go ahead without further ado and get into these breakout rooms. And let you guys go ahead and get started. Roland, who are you with?
He was with me. Him and I, Azam.
Yeah, so Azam, I don't see your name. I don't see your name in here.
Right here.
Yeah, I know you're there, but I don't see for whatever reason, I don't see your name in the, I'll sort it out. And Alyssa, who were you with?
I was with Mike Conrad.
All right, so you and Mike, Roland and Azam, so we'll figure all this out because I'm seeing some people that are not attached. All right, we'll get this sorted. Let's see, Dave Lee, who were you with? All right.
He moved to his cell phone. I was in room 4 with Stan John from Duluth. Stan
Got
from
it.
El Paso.
Got it. All right, and David Tanner, who were you with?
That was John, sir.
John, yep, got it, from Boynton. Let's go put you in room 6.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It makes it sound like real. It is so real that, you know, I loved it. I loved it. So I'm gonna start
Nice.
using it myself. I mean, this is a good thing to know about.
Nice.
You know, from
Unfortunately, Zoom doesn't record what happens in the breakout room, so
Uh-oh.
that one's lost forever. You just
Okay,
have to
well,
have the memory.
I hope you have it written down so you could send it to me. Can you hear me?
I wish I could remember what I said.
Right on. Right on. All right, somebody else. What did you hear somebody do that you know what, I'm going to steal that line, I'm going to use that. Again, this is so that everybody gets better.
I don't think it's, oh,
Go ahead, Clayton.
I don't think it's, I don't want to say it's necessarily a line that I stole, but it's just making sure that we get into that habit of making sure we're taking those steps and that we're not fumbling over our words. It's literally just, it's going to take practice. I mean, you're going to fumble, you're going to make mistakes, but it's just making sure that we're learning from those mistakes and that we get to where, like you kind of said yesterday, making it our own and to where it's not like a robot doing it.
Nice. David.
John and I were fortunate enough to have an excellent warm up yesterday. We happen to live, born from the smallest state in the union and 2 towns over. So John and I have had a wonderful time catching up. John said to me one thing that I thought to myself, like, wow, an attribute that he needed because of beach sand. And I thought I had to ask follow-up questions, and John was great about offering the information. But my point is not expecting beach sand, you know? And when you hear something you don't expect, or just being in that moment and remembering to say, oh, you know what, try to elaborate on that, because I'm not familiar with the struggles you deal with beach sand and the wear and tear it creates. And John did a great job of explaining. So for me, it was remembering that somebody might mention something where it's okay to say, you know what, I have no experience with beach sand in my house, and I'd love to hear more, or whatever it may be.
Nice. Nice. Someone else.
Listen for them to divulge their passions. And when they do divulge their passions and they start to jam, shut up and listen. Richard is he's a tech geek like me, but he takes it to another level. He likes more monitors on his desk than, I mean, it was like a fantasy call. I said, I didn't think this was going to be an erotic call, Richard. This is pretty amazing, man. He's got 8 monitors. But when you get somebody talking about their passions, that allows you to it should anyway, allow you to very naturally tailor your conversation always toward their passions, and also never be afraid to just shut up and listen, let them talk, because anybody will tell you, you have the same conversation with 2 different people. The one who talks the most is the one who's going to say, oh, that was a great chat. You know, people like to, I'm a perfect example. You like to hear yourself talk. My mom used to say, I talk to hear my head rattle. So, you know, that's an old timey saying.
I like it. I like it. Good. Other things that you guys picked up?
Me and Armando, it was a pretty good group, because I'm coming from sales over the past 10 years in a company, and Armando's coming from installer to business owner in his own flooring company. So like I was able to bring up some ideas to Armando based off of my past experiences when I got stuff installed from Home Depot, and then him having installed for Lowe's. And I explained to him, because in Florida, a lot of people have tile in their main floors, or on their first floor, because there's no basements. But I explained to him, I brought it up to him, I was like, look, you should use these the knowledge you have from installing with Lowe's and understand the quality that you were doing then. And I asked him a simple question. I was like, in tile floors, and you're putting LVP on top of them at Lowe's, did you ever put anything down to in the grout lines? And he said no.
Yeah,
And
they just don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't do that. It's just, and those are little things that you can bring into your story when you're talking about the big box stores and versus what you're getting.
Love that. I love that. Yeah, Armando used all of that, all of it.
Yeah, I told him he's
Absolutely,
got to
yeah.
use that to his advantage
Absolutely.
100% because that's
Yeah.
he's gonna kill it.
Good, good. What else did you guys pick up from one another?
Well, Amelia did a great job of, really sounding like an expert and really educating not just me, the role-playing customer, but actually educating me as a person. So, I think when someone explains things so well and is, knows their knowledge so well, it builds trust and really makes you feel comfortable with the person that you're working with.
Nice, nice. Amelia, how did Michael do second time around?
He did great. So my situation was, and it really is that, my grandma about 2 years ago, she ended up in a wheelchair, and right now we have laminate. It's lasted over 20 years of my life, but just in the last 2 years, she's ruined every single transition in the house. And it's strictly because of that wheelchair. And so the second time around, I was being the customer of, well, is this a glue? Like, is this the same product? Because if I'm going to spend $8,000, I'm not going to spend $8,000 for my floor to fall apart all over again. So he really made sure to pay attention to detail the second time and say like, oh, because this floor is falling apart, we're going to switch this to a glue down. So that way, when a competitor comes in and tries to sell me the same floor so it can, be damaged again, I know like, okay, Michael was the one that actually showed me a product that was custom to my living situation and so forth.
Nice. I like that he tried to find a solution instead of just blaming it on grandma. Well, this is grandma's fault.
Well, tell grandma to lose the wheelchair.
That's it. Lose the, come on, honey, you can walk. Get on with it.
Right.
Good stuff. What else did you guys pick up? All right, I want to share. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was with Portia, and she's a franchise owner, so I can really pick up on like her passion and making the whole situation personal, as opposed to like the big box Lowe's, whatever, where you're never gonna get a personal attention in there. So she wanted to make sure that it was with her, you're gonna get someone who's gonna go through the whole installation process and be there the whole time and then back up the whole project. And I can see that's what she was, very service oriented.
Nice. I want to share something with you guys, and I'm gonna turn this into a numbers exercise in just a moment. But before I go to the spreadsheet, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna get a little bit personal with you. I would like to get in better shape. I mean, it's just what it is. Okay, I have been in better shape. I've been in worse shape. I'm about middle of the road of where I would want to be, but I'd like to get in better shape. So I know what to do. I know that calories and macros and activity and all those things are important, right? I know that, but I have to apply it. So what does it take to get in shape? Well, if I go to the gym and I spend 2 hours in the gym, if I come back home and look in the mirror, what am I going to see? What results am I going to see?
What?
Nothing.
You're not gonna see
Nothing.
anything.
Nothing. Okay. All right. Well, if I go to the gym tomorrow and maybe I spend 4 hours in the gym tomorrow and come home, look in the mirror, what results am I going to see?
Still nothing.
Nothing
Nothing.
still. Yeah.
So clearly that doesn't work, right? Well, it does work, but not that way. What gets somebody into shape is not spending 2 hours or 4 hours or even 8 hours in a gym one day. It's 30 minutes in the gym every day. It's consistency,
Awesome.
right?
An ongoing
Right.
process, yeah.
Check it.
Right. So what happens if, you know, I decide, okay, we're going to really pay attention to calories. So tomorrow, you know, I cut my calories in half. Probably not going to see anything. I mean, it's the same way. You can pick anything. Brushing your teeth. What good does it do you to brush your teeth today? Nothing. It doesn't do anything.
Well,
But brushing your teeth twice a day, every day, is the consistency that does it, right? It's not the one-time thing. It's the consistency that does it. So here's what happens a lot of times with sales. Somebody tells you, hey, this is a great idea. Try this. Whether it's a reference list, an inspection video, going through a company story, whatever. Okay, so you go to a company story one time and it doesn't work. Well, that doesn't work. One time. This is something that you have to practice. You've got to practice using your tablet. You've got to practice going through your process. I want you to make it yours, okay? So when I'm talking about practicing, I'm not talking about becoming mindless drone robots and just doing it the same way over and over. I mean, actually practice customizing and everything else. So some of you said, I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, some of you said that you felt like you were a 6. I don't know what that means. Good, bad, something, another. Okay, great. But what if you practiced and tomorrow you are 1% better? Okay, well, if I take 1%, if I take 6 and I multiply it by 1%, 1.01. That means tomorrow I'm a 6.06. Not a real discernible difference. So here we are on day 1, day 2, day 3. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. Just roll this out for a ways. All right. So I'm 1 day in and I practice and I get 1% better. And it's like, well, that didn't do any good. Well, 2 days in and I get 1% better again. Still no discernible difference. What about a month? What does it take a month from now? Still not that big of a difference. In fact, if I just do a little formatting here, we'll realize that
My computer incapabilities have no idea what you just did with this.
I was thinking
All
the
right.
same thing.
so this is
Old school Excel spreadsheet.
It's a
old
form.
school, baby. So this is the day, and this is what I'm considering my rate, okay? And this is just 1% better. Okay? So here we go. I'm 10 days in. I don't feel like I'm any better. I'm a month in. Well, maybe I'm a little bit better. I went from a 6 to an 8. 30 days from now, I went from a 6 to an 8. But my gosh, that took a month. Okay, well, what's going to happen a month from now? Hey, maybe I'm starting to feel a little different. So I've gone from a 6 to a 10, but it took 2 months to get there. Okay. Well, what happens if I just keep focusing on being 1% better every day? So 180 days from now, wow, I've gone from what I thought was a 6 to a 35. And that's a big improvement. What happens at a year? I don't know. A year from now, what do I look like?
65.
I gotta extend it even further down.
65.
Wow, 360. Let's go even further. Let's get all the way out to a year. One more. 220. Wow, 225. So if I rate myself at a 6 today, I don't have to make a big change for tomorrow. I just have to be 1% better tomorrow. That's it. 1%. I don't need to all of a sudden like move mountains or whatever else. I just need to be 1% better. If I commit to finding a way to be 1% better every day, it'll probably take about 2 months before I see any significant change. But in 6 months, 3 months, okay, 6 months, 180 days. Wow, 6 months from now, I'm getting really good at this. And then look what happens from month 6 all the way to the end of the year, 225 roughly. So what is my point in all this? Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. It takes practice. It takes working through this. Sales, you know what? I just don't believe that they're natural born salespeople. I don't. I believe that they're natural born talkers, and there's people that feel more comfortable with other people. So in that sense, okay. But I firmly believe that sales is a skill. It's a skill like playing the guitar. It's a skill like playing basketball. It's a skill like 100 other skills that are out there. And I believe that sales, you can get better at sales if you practice it just like you practice a skill. I also believe that just like the guitar or basketball or soccer or whatever else it is, I also believe that if you don't practice it, you don't get any better. And there's not a single athlete in the world that would tell you that moving from one game to the next, that's all it takes to get better. I mean, Grant played football. There's no way that they went from one game on one Saturday to the next game the other Saturday and didn't do anything in between. I don't believe it. I don't believe that even, who's the big name today. So Taylor Swift or, pick whatever band you want to. They practice in between. They practice in between. They don't go from one concert to the next. They practice in between. They break it down in between. And I'm asking you to do the same thing. Take this seriously, because you can make a ton of money in this job. There is no question. You can make a ton of money in this job, and you can make a lot of people happy with their floors, and you can promote the Floor Coverings International brand, and this can be one of the best jobs you've ever had in your life. Or this can be one of the worst jobs you've ever had in your life because, oh my gosh, I can't sell anything to anybody and everything sucks and life is horrible and I'm going to go work at Chick-fil-A because at least there I know I can get $15 an hour. So I'm not trying to get preachy, even though it sounds that way. The reality is I want you to focus on the consistency and focus on just getting 1% better each day. There's if you spend 20 minutes a day, just 20 minutes a day practicing something, that works out to about 100 hours a year. And there's some rule, and to be honest, I don't know if it's real or not. Sounds good. I mean, if it's on the internet, it has to be true. So somebody said that if you have spent 100 hours actually focusing on something, that you're better than 95% of the population that's out there in that thing. So if you just spent 20 minutes, apart from your appointments, apart from your follow-up, apart from actually being in the customer's house, if you spent 20 minutes a day focusing on your craft and actually practicing these tools, you're going to get 1% better each day. And at the end of the year, it's going to be amazing how good you are at this. So last minute, any last minute thoughts, questions, anything that comes to your mind before we sign off for today?
Use your experience in life as a benefit to sales.
Love it. Love that.
Own it, make it your own. And Arlen can only put out a standard package for all of us, but as we all know, there are chatters, technical, superior knowledge people, blah, blah, blah. But we can all drive from coast to coast and get to the same area. It's just the journey that's different for each of us. So lean on your strengths and work on what we need to in the meantime.
Love it.
You know what? I want to second what David said also is like, have confidence, because a lot of the customers, they're not looking into floors every day. Have that confidence, speak with your chest, as David would say, and confidence is key. If you can't be confident in your product, then you can't sell it.
Love it. Love it. All right, so the next thing that I want us to do is going to take longer than what we have today. So I'm going to let you guys sign off just a few minutes early today. No big deal. I will see you again tomorrow at 11. Now, you're going to get an email from me tonight that has the recap from today, which I'm going to include the convention document that we looked at. I'm also going to include a spreadsheet that has the numbers that we looked at, so that you've got that just for reference. Do with that what you want to do with it. But that'll come out in the recap email when the recording finally does what it's supposed to do. So that'll be later this evening. You'll also get the schedule for tomorrow. Now, the schedule for tomorrow is different. Eastern time, we're going to start at 11 o'clock, just like we did today, but we're going to stop at 2 p.m. Eastern. You're going to have a window from 2 to 4 to go do one last evaluation. Now, yeah, it's great if that happens to be a customer appointment. If not, maybe you can do it with your franchise owner. For sure, the owners that are on here, you've been assigned, your coaches have that window blocked out on their calendar for them to work with you for those 2 hours. So you've got that time from 2 to 4 to hopefully get that one last evaluation in. And then you're going to jump back on with me at 4 p.m. tomorrow for a final wrap up from 4 to 5. Okay. So we'll be together from 11 to 2. You're going to be with your franchise owner or your coach from 2 to 4. And then 4 to 5, you're back on with me, obviously all Eastern time.
Hey, Arlen.
Yes.
So I don't know that I was just looking at our calendar. So Scott has an appointment tomorrow, but it's at 1 o'clock and it's in Nashville. So if in order for me to be able to get to that appointment, I would probably have to leave like 12:15 my time.
Okay. Yeah, plan on doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, plan on doing that.
All right, I'll talk to Scott and let him know then.
Okay. Good. All right, team. Then I will sign off for today, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning.
All right.
Thanks, Arlen.
Guys, have a good night.
See you later.
Thanks, Arlen.
Thanks, Arlen.
Well done, Arlen.
Thank you. Take care.
Great job.
Great day, everyone.